Okay, good morning, friends. We're continuing Mishna Berura Daf HaShavua. We're learning Siman, Samach, Vav, Seif Gimel. Siman, Samach, Vav, Seif Gimel. L'Kadish, v'L'Kedusha, u'Levarchu, Mafsik afilu be'emtza ha'pasuk. For Kaddish, for Kedusha, for Barchu, you interrupt even in the middle of a pasuk. V'chein l'moidim, also for moidim. Avolo yoymar ela tevas moidim bavad. All you should do is say the words moidim. Says the Mishna Berura, Kaddish. Hainu, Kaddish doesn't mean brichu, it doesn't even mean amen. Hainu la'amen yehesh me'raba. Amen yehesh me'raba mevarach la'alam omei amayav v'lo yoymar yisparach. Do not add the words yisparach if you're at a place that you can't talk. So the word Yisparach is talai in minhag, and therefore if you're in a place that you're not to be mafsik, you should just say until almaya. What about if you hear Kaddish in the middle of Shemaina Esrei? You listen and you're silent. What about Brichu? No, you can't be mafsik for that. You can't even be mafsik for that in the middle of Psukah de Zimra. Okay. The Mishna Berura continues. V'yane amen achar da amiram b'yama. You could answer the final amen of the Chatzi Kaddish, da amiram b'yama v'imru amen. Aval al tiskabel, you don't answer amen. Yehesh me'raba, an oisa shalom lo yan amen ki inu ala minag. You hear this? You don't answer amen not to tiskabel, not to yehesh lama rabba, and not to oisa shalom. The Iker Amen, there are two Iker Amens of Kaddish. Amen Yehesh Me'raba and the Amiram B'Alma in middle of the Kaddish. Everything else is Minhag. Okay, we're in Siman Samach Vav in the Mishna Berura of Cutting Yud Zayin. Then V'Lekdusha Yoyma Rak Kadosh 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 Hashem Tzvakas Malchus Kvaida Ubaruch Baruch Kvaid Hashem Mimekoymai Shazau Iker Kedusha V'Lo Yimlach. You don't say Yimlach. V'koshkein shlo yomer nekadesh, u'shar dom shamisim b'Shabbos. V'chol zeh afilu bein ha'prakim lo yomer. You don't even say these things bein ha'prakim. Okay. U'lebarchu she'oineh. To barchu, where you answer Baruch Hashem HaBaruch L'olam Va'ed. So this is going on. Ulevarchu sha'oineh Baruch Hashem Baruch L'olam Va'ed ubeberchas ataya yana Baruch Hashem Hamvayrach L'olam Va'ed v'gam amen al Seif habracha. Wow, says Mishna Berura, a whopper. If you're middle of Birchos Krias and you hear someone get an aliyah and he says, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam asher ba'achar banu mikol ha'amim v'nasan lanu es Torah. So Baruch atah Hashem noseina Torah. You have to answer Amen, even in the middle of Birchos Krias. By the way, it goes without saying that on a regular Shabbos, when you're listening to the laning, a very big ikar of listening to laning is also answering Amen to the brachos of the oila. So you're going to answer Amen to the Seif habracha. And both of Asher Bachar Banu and Asher Nasan. V'yesh mefakbekin ba'amen zeh. There are those who question whether you can answer this amen or not. And ubein ha'prakim yesh lahakel. Bein ha'prakim you could be mekel. The Mishna Berura says the reason you could be mekel is because the Pri Megadim is mekel by every amen. So certainly the amen of the Birchos HaTorah at the end after an aliyah. You could be mafsik. Why? What's the logic that you could be mafsik? This is what Mendy was asking yesterday, and this is what we said. If you're allowed to interrupt to ask about the kavod of flesh and blood, certainly for the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now, Reb Chaim Kanievsky wants to medayek from this lashon of the Mishna Berura that answering for these things is not a heter, it's a chiyuv. The Shal Shechuvas Yad Eliyahu brings that some poskim hold you're chayiv to answer in Krias Shema Birchos El for Kasha Kedusha because of the svara. This svara is if you are shoyom ibnei hakavod, then certainly you have to answer for kavod of Hashem. However, the Torah's Chaim says you're not chayiv for a different reason. Oisik b'mitzvah pater min mitzvah. I always wondered about this. Let's say you're Mil Shemona Esrei. You need to listen to Kaddish. How much of Kedusha? How much of Kedusha? Do you have to listen to the Chazan saying the Kaddish Shemcha Ba'olam? Do you have to listen to the Chazan say Mim Kaimcha? Actually, you can't even hear the Chazan say Mim Kaimcha. He's singing V'hu keli v'chai goyali v'tzuhur chevli v'yesara. I don't mean the words, the tune. That's pretty popular now. So you don't even know what he's... So do you need to stop? I didn't think so. I thought you only have to stop for 2 sentences. Kaddish, 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 and Baruch Kavod. The Chai Adam says, you stop for the whole Kedusha. Rabbi Yosef says, you stop for the whole Kedusha. Now, I would ask on that, I can't even hear what he's saying. He's serenading us with the latest Kabach. You can't hear him say the words. So I guess then you don't have to stop. I guess then it's obvious you don't have to stop. But if you could hear him say the words, B'chai Adam and Rabbi Yashiv say you have to stop for the whole Kedusha. Now this is, Reb Shlomo Zalman says that if you're in middle Psukei de Zimra, it's good to be silent for Kadosh and Baruch. And Reb Chaim Kanievsky also says it's good to be silent from the beginning of Nekadesh until the end of the bracha. We say Legabe Kaddish, you're mafsik only when you're answering, and you only have to be mafsik for the beginning of Kaddish. He says it's better to be silent for the whole thing. Now, is this only talking about Birchos Krias Shema, or is this even talking about Shemona Esrei? Because I believe for Shemona Esrei it has a different status. In other words, here we're talking about Birchos Krias Shema. Birchos Krias Shema, you're allowed to answer certain things. You're allowed to answer Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. You're allowed to answer Baruch. So Memelo, you're allowed to answer, maybe you're allowed to be silent for the whole Kedusha. But what about in Shemona Esrei where you're not allowed to answer? Should you be silent for the whole thing? Okay, I'm not sure yet. The Mechaber continues. Okay, umay hai taima nira dim shama kol ra'amim yavsik v'yivarech dav a mitzvah veres. For this reason, if you hear thunder in middle Birchos Krias Shema, you should stop and make a bracha because it's a mitzvah veres. Did that ever happen to you? You're in middle Birchos Krias Shema and you heard thunder? Never happened to me. I don't remember that ever happening. What about, are you allowed to stop in the middle of Birchos Krias Shema to do Kiddush Levana? You realized that you didn't do Kiddush Levana yet, and it's been a cloudy day, it's going to be a cloudy day, and if you wait until after Birchos Krias Shema, you're going to miss it. You do Kiddush Levana in middle of Birchos Krias Shema. That means just the bracha. You don't say Shalom Aleichem, you don't dance around, Tayvim, you don't do that. Okay. What if a person is in the middle of Birchos Krias Shema and they said, hey, I forgot to say Yishtabach. Can you say Yishtabach in the middle of Birchos Krias Shema? So Levushe Mordechai and the Or L'Tzion say, and Rav Shlomo Zalman says, you can't say Yishtabach anymore. Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, you say Yishtabach bein haprakim of Yotzer Ar. Weiter. V'yesh chalkim, some disagree that you do not make a bracha on thunder. The kivan shu oisik b'shivcha shalmakoim, since you're busy praising Hashem, Do not interrupt for a different praise. It's not similar to all the others, which are Dvarim Shebekdusha. What that seems at face value is that even though making a bracha on thunder is a mitzvah iveres, it does not have the status of Davar Shebekdusha, as opposed to Kaddish, Kedusha, and Moed, and all the others. One of the reasons given, the Marshag says, now that's difficult. Is Moedim a Davar Shebekdusha? Kaddish is, Kedusha is, Baruch Hu is, Moedim isn't. So that's a hard chiluk to make, that it's because it's a Dvarim Shebekdusha. The Marshag gives a different reason, that it's a bezayon for the tzibur, that they're saying Baruch Hu, they're saying Kaddish, and you're not responding with them. And it's a bezayon to Hashem. By the way, that would apply to Moedim. But Re'imim, you could pater yourself because Oisik Mitzvah pater min mitzvah. Gamei Chay Adam, Mashma Dim Shaman Be'emtza, Ein Lo Yidvar Chalim. Chay Adam is also mashma, if you hear it in the middle, you don't make a bracha. Kiyim Kishashama Oisam Ben HaPrakim, unless you heard it Ben HaPrakim. Now, the Mechaber said, Moedim, you just say the word Moedim. Really? The word Moedim doesn't mean anything. Meaning, Mishna Berura explains, Perish Moedim Anachnu Lach, it's too big of a hefsek. That you just say Moedim Anachnu Lach. Says Rama Haga, V'chein Baruch Hu. When you say Baruch Hu, Lo Yoymar Yisbarach V'yishtabach. If you look in some Sidurim after Baruch Hu, it says Yishtabach Yisbarach V'yishtabach V'chulu. V'yesh Amrim Da'amein Sha'oinen Achar Birchos Hakel HaKadosh V'achar Shema Tefillah Yesh Le Din Kedusha. Some say the Amen after Hakel HaKadosh and Shema Tefillah has a din of Kedusha, and you could answer them in Krias Shema, v'chein ikar, v'l'chol hanimili poiskim. And for all of these poiskim, mikol shekein ba'omer tachanunim. There's a kol shekein from saying tachanunim. So we'll have to see what that means. Says the Mishna Berura, Hakel HaKadosh. Why is Hakel HaKadosh like Kedusha? Mishum dehu siyam shalish brachos rishonos. It's the completion of the first three brachos. V'shoymei tefillah have a siyam amtzios. What about sim shalom? Aval ha'amein achar sim shalom. Achar siyam sim shalom. After siyam kol ha'shemon esrei. Even though it's the end of the Shemon Esrei, hiskima arbacharim delo yana be'emtzer Krias Shema. You shouldn't answer. I am b'magen avram atam. Yeah, that's very interesting. Why should you not answer for sim shalom? Anybody know what the Magen Avram says? Okay, that's your homework, to look up the Magen Avram. Why you shouldn't answer Amen to Sim Shalom. Now, Rav Moshe writes, what about if you live in Eretz Yisrael and you hear them doing Birchos Kainim, Asher Kedushanu B'Kedusha Shal Aroin. You do not answer Amen. However, if you hear Birchos Kaihanim, you do answer Amen. Rav Moshe has a Chidush Nifla. Amen to Birchos Kaihanim is a mitzvah da'iraisa. Why? Because it's answering. Say what? Amen? Yes. Rav Moshe has a tshuva. Answering Amen to Birchos Kaihanim is a mitzvah and a chiyuv da'iraisa. It's the most important answer that you do the whole day. Why? Because not only the first bir halach and chelek beis is not only is a mitzvah da'iraisa for the kaihanim to bench the people, it's a mitzvah for the people to be part of the bracha of the kaihanim. And as a way of showing that you're part of the bracha, you answer Amen. Therefore, the Rav Moshe says it's a chiyuv da'iraisa, even more than a kel kodesh shemei tefillah, more than Amen Yehi Shmei Rabbah. Also, Rav Sternbuch says it's a chiyuv da'iraisa. It's a chiyuv da'iraisa. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be standing on your head. You could be upside down. You could be anywhere. In the middle of any tefillah or anything, you must say Amen, Amen to Birchos Kaihanim. Okay. Weiter. Says Mishna Berura, Hani mili l'chayra lav dafka. Now, what does the Ramah mean at the end? Ulachol hani mili, paiskim. Oh, we have to read it. I didn't read it correctly. Ulachol hani mili, for all of the above, paiskim, we interrupt mikol shekein ba'omer tachanunim. As a kol shekein when you're saying tachanunim. Meaning everything that we just mentioned, Kaddish, Kedusha, Baruch, Moedim, Amen to Kala Kaddish, Amen to Shema Tefillah, you need to interrupt when you're saying Tehillim. Meaning, Psukei de Zimra. Says Mishna Berura, L'chayr lav dafka, then l'chol Amen tzarich l'fsuk Shema Tachnum. You have to answer any Amen during Psukei de Zimra. The truth is, the words of Ramah are very correct. He's talking about the supplications you add to the end of Shemona Esrei. Al kain elu amenim dafka. Therefore, dafka these amenim. So if you're in LA Kainitzar and you're adding your personal tachanunim, so what do you answer? You don't answer every amen. Only the above mentioned hefsekim. Kain matzasi behedya b'tshuvas harajba shemimenu noivei hadin. That the Ramah is not talking about Psukei de Zimra, the Ramah is talking about Tachnunim that you add to the end of Shemona Esrei. So if you're at the end of L'kai Netzar, you're going to say Amen to Hakal HaKadosh, to Shema Tefillah, Amen Hishmei Rabba, Baruch Hu, and so on. Tachnunim b'chol shekein b'Psukei de Zimra. Certainly in Psukei de Zimra. Ule'inyan and motor lanus Amen bein ha'prakim shel Krias Shema Birchos. Could you answer Amen bein ha'prakim of Krias Shema Birchos? Hachayadim chal chav sivdal kasa the einay motor rak Lanos rak amen min abracha atzma shasima metchila. The Chayadim says you can only answer amen to the bracha of the shots of, if you said the words Yotzer HaMa'oros and the shot says Yotzer HaMa'oros, that's the only amen you could say other than the above mentioned ones. But if, let's say, you hear an Asher Yatzar, you hear Haboicher B'Amoy Sobi Ahava, you can't answer Amen if that's not where you're up to. Aval Prima Gadam Siman Nalef Chem Chedush Rabbi Kiva Eger Siman Zeh Gimel the Chol Amen Mutter La'anois Ben HaPrakim. They say every Amen you can answer Ben HaPrakim, which is how the Mishna Berura came out earlier in Siman Non Tesk Sivkat and Yerches. Okay. If somebody urinated, they should not make Asher Yatzar. Rather, they should wash their hands and then make the Asher Yatzar after the Shemona Esrei. Okay, we'll hold it over here. We'll pick it up in Sif Dalid. And with your permission, we're going to learn tomorrow. Is that okay? Okay. Tomorrow, if you're available, 9 a.m. Okay? Shkayach. Kol tov, everyone. Bracha v'atzlacha.